Lots of international stuff in the news today. Let me tick off some of it. There's the meeting with Modi. There's the aftermath of Trump's conversation with Putin. There's the Vice President, Secretary of Defense, Secretary of State in Europe, and Europe's freak out over everything related to Trump. There's talk that I've heard and I've talked about on two-way before that Taiwan is somehow in play. I just still don't quite understand what that's about. There's reporting in the Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal about Israel poised to go after Iran. There's Egypt now, just as Trump had hoped. There's Egypt now saying, "Hey, Trump's plan's horrible. Why don't we rebuild Gaza?" So there's lots going on internationally. Dan, what international player or players are obstacles for Trump now? Who is not bending to Trump's will that the administration has to worry about?
I think in the Middle East, the question is, are they trying to delay and kind of run this out a little bit versus really confronting and trying to solve the problem immediately? I think it's a dance in the Middle East. They're smart. They understand how to flatter Trump. They understand kind of how to play the game a little bit. And I think there is a question of, would Trump really send U.S. troops into Gaza and, rebuild this, or is he just pushing us and we'll wait him out? To me, that is really the big question. And the second would be just Europe coming to grips or terms with they need to own their own future versus rely on us. And both administrations have been telegraphing that a little bit now for the last 10 years.
Son, who's in Trump's way?
Who's in his way?
What world leaders are currently a problem? Like Putin, he seems to have Putin and Xi kind of not neutralized, Netanyahu too. Those are the big three typically, right? American leaders don't have leverage over Netanyahu, Putin, and Xi. Trump seems to be doing okay with all three of them right now. So who's in the way?
Of this, but I would actually say that Xi is not making it an issue. So I actually think that's the wild card. She has sort of said, you go play with those guys, and then we got to have our own little dance here.
Yeah, but that's different. Like right now, Trump doesn't need to spend bandwidth on what are we going to do about Xi. It's like in a nice holding pattern for him. He doesn't have him wrestle to the ground, but he's not a problem.
I don't think anybody's a problem. The only problems that are going to be self-imposed. You've got we're now on the 30-day deadline with Canada and Mexico. So at some point he's got to get something to, like, once you start.
I'm not saying the problem to solve. The secret premise of my question is Trump has flipped the board over, put it back up, and put the pieces where he wants. There's currently nobody who's a problem for him.
Right.
There's challenges and there's challenges. Not a threat. They're problems. There's no threats. Zelensky's not a threat right now. Putin's not a threat right now. The way they were for Biden, like Sullivan and Blinken had to be worried. Like, what's Putin doing today? What's he up to? How are we going to deal with that? Same with Xi. I just don't. And same with Netanyahu. I don't see anybody right now who Trump's like, this is a crisis. How are we going to neutralize this person?
Mark,
it's not forever.
I don't know about
but
that.
Right now, name the person. Who's the person who's
Netanyahu? Because if he goes into Iran and that goes side, but right now it's all talk. It's very easy to say, tough guy, you don't do this by Saturday. Like we have Israel's back. It's another thing if they go into Iran and stuff is shot.
It could all go south tomorrow, but right now, jaw is beating war.
But hold on a second. Mark, do you think, because Netanyahu has flipped off every U.S. president for the last 40 years, he doesn't have Netanyahu by the balls. They just have right now.
He doesn't have him by the balls, but Netanyahu doesn't have him by the balls today. That's my point. Today. He doesn't today.
I think he does.
He doesn't. Not compared to Biden.
Look, Bibi. By the way, we got 48 hours till 12 o'clock on Saturday when he gave that deadline to Hamas. So, but I don't think that Bibi's going to go out there and go nuts without checking it with him first.
Correct.
Wait. Check with him.
But Sean, Hamas said they're going to release everybody. They backed down. So the deadline's off. And that's another example. Again, I don't want to overstate it. It could all go south tomorrow. Putin could take more land. Xi could, try to take Taiwan. Stuff could happen. I'm just saying today, Thursday, February 13th, I don't see a single world leader who Trump has to currently worry about. How do we check what they're doing? Even Iran.
Okay, right. Agree.
Yeah. Okay. Dan, I'm forcing you to agree.
I think he worries about.
No.
Say yes.
All right.